Let's look at a small example of how we would do an internet search. The problem they pose to us, for example, reads as follows: that we need to edit the Windows registry of a computer, but it doesn't work. It won't boot. The Windows registry of another computer that is different from the one we are working on. Of course, it can happen that or say the keywords Windows registry, it is a relatively technical problem. Windows registry, it is a relatively advanced technical problem. And from another computer, we would do different tests with the search engine, Google, for example. And it can happen in many occasions that we do not find relevant information. In this case, it could be because let's say that maybe technical information, relatively advanced or relatively deep, it may happen that the information is not available in Spanish. Because most of the information on the internet is in English. The technical issues are dealt with in more depth in international forums, always in English. Then it may happen that this very specific information is not available in forums only in Spanish. So we do different tests and we don't have any result. We have to think in a little bit more general way. Think effectively saying, this is a very specific information. The computer support forums, most or the vast majority are in English. We are going to do a search in English. Then we would translate the keywords of this problem into English. And we would say you have to edit the registry. Offline, what does this mean? That is not directly from the computer that we are working on, but we take out that computer is not working. We have to erase the registry, then we take out the hard disk. We tap it through a connection to another computer that we're working with, and that's where we want to access that hard drive. We in a browser, because already in this way, we would introduce the keywords that, as we have commented, then we put them finally in English after having unsuccessfully tried in Spanish. In this case, for example, we are going to have the word offline is very precise of really what we want to do. Then already in the first occurrence, we get relevant information on how we have to go about doing step 1, step 2, etc., how we have to edit the record in this way that it tells us. The problem is that as we have gone to forums in English, logically the information is in English. It can be that we may not be able to read it. Very well. In the case of English, it is a language that practically all of us are able to read it and understand what it means. But it could have happened that we would have had the information in any other language. In these cases, there are no major complications since the search tool itself, the search engine itself. In this case, Google can be any other because when it detects that the language of the pages that it has found are not of the language that we have configured the environment in our case, because it directly offers us an option. Moreover, an option that the engine performs in a very powerful way in a short time of translation of that page. The translation, logically, it is not an academic translation. It would not be a translation for publication, but it is a sufficiently adequate translation so that we can understand what the page says and get an idea of how to solve the problem, which is ultimately what we wanted to achieve.